Tourist boat capsized during a thunderstorm in Vietnam. Weeks-old baby starves to death as Israel kills 116 in Gaza. Hello, good afternoon and Salam Malaysia Madani. Thanks for joining us. I'm Olivia Nicholas and you're watching World Today. A tourist boat ferrying families around Vietnam's Ha Long Bay capsized in a storm on Saturday, leaving at least 34 people dead as rescuers scrambled to locate the missing. The vessel was carrying 48 passengers and 5 crew members when it capsized in the UNESCO World Heritage Site because of sudden heavy rain. Most of those on board were families visiting from the capital Hanoi, with more than 20 children among the passengers. Prime Minister Pham Minh Chinh sent his condolences to the families of the deceased and called on the Defence and Public Security Ministries to conduct urgent search and rescue. A statement on the government website said authorities would investigate and clarify the cause of the incident and strictly handle violations. Torrential rain also lashed northern Hanoi, Thai Nguyen and Bac Ninh provinces on Saturday. Ha Long Bay is one of Vietnam's most popular tourist destinations, with millions of people visiting its blue-green waters and rainforest-topped limestone islands each year. Last year, 30 vessels sank at boat lock areas in coastal Quang Ninh province along Ha Long Bay after Typhoon Yagi brought strong wind and waves. The director of Al-Shifa Hospital, Mohammed Abu Salmiya, reveals that 2 more Palestinians, including a weeks-old baby, have succumbed to starvation, as UN says thousands in Gaza are on the verge of catastrophic hunger. Mohammed said the 35-year-old infant died of malnutrition at the hospital, adding that the unnamed infant was one of the 2 people who succumbed to starvation in the facility on Saturday. Meanwhile, the Israeli military continued to pound the strip, with medical sources reporting that at least 116 people were killed across the enclave since dawn, including 38 who were shot dead while seeking food from the sites run by the US-backed Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, GHF. Civil Defense Agency spokesman Mahmoud Basal said the deaths happened near a site southwest of Khan Yunis and another center northwest of Rafah, both in southern Gaza, attributing the fatalities to Israeli gunfire. The health ministry says almost 900 Palestinians have been killed by Israeli forces and private military contractors near dangerous GHF sites since the foundation began distributing aid in late May, opening 4 points that replaced about 400 centers run by United Nations agencies and charities. Sectarian clashes escalated in Syria's predominantly Druze region of Sueda on Saturday, with machine fire and mortar shelling ringing out after days of bloodshed as the government struggled to implement a ceasefire. Witnesses heard gunfire from inside the city of Sueda and saw shells land in nearby villages. However, there were no immediate confirmed reports of casualties. The government had said security forces were deploying in the southern region to try to keep peace and urge all parties to stop fighting after nearly a week of factional bloodshed in which hundreds have been killed. Late on Saturday, the Interior Ministry said clashes in Sueda city had been halted and the area cleared of Bedouin tribal fighters following the deployment. The Syrian Observatory for Human Rights said clashes since last week around Sueda had killed at least 940 people. Interim President Ahmed al-Shara said Arab and American mediation had helped restore calm before the clashes escalated. He also criticized Israel for airstrikes during the week. The fighting is the latest challenge to the control of Shara's government, which took over after fighters toppled Bashar al-Assad in December. A car plowed into a crowd outside a Hollywood nightclub on Saturday, injuring 30 people, with bystanders attacking and shooting the driver before he was detained by authorities. Lillian Carranza from the Los Angeles Police Department said the suspect was undergoing surgery and in stable condition. Carranza said police were looking into charges including attempted murder and assault with a deadly weapon. The driver was pulled out of the car by the crowd and attacked in the kiosk that followed the car ramming. Authorities were also searching for a gunman who shot and wounded the driver before fleeing on foot. Footage posted on social media showed panicked people running outside the club and victims sprawled on a blood-stained sidewalk while others sobbed nearby. The driver of the car, reportedly a Nissan Versa sedan, was pulled from the vehicle by the crowd, handcuffed and brutally beaten, a video on social media showed. More than 100 firefighters responded to the scene in East Hollywood. Authorities said 7 victims were in critical condition and 6 were in serious condition. They added that 10 victims suffered minor injuries while 7 left the hospital against medical advice. Typhoon Wipha, the 6th typhoon of the year, strengthened to a severe tropical storm on Saturday, according to the China Meteorological Administration, which renewed a yellow alert. The tropical storm is moving northwestward at a speed of 25 kilometers per hour and is expected to intensify. It is projected to make landfall along coastal areas between Shenzhen city of Guangdong province in South China and Wenchang in the southern tropical island province of Hainan between Sunday afternoon and evening. As Wipha approached, China's Ministry of Water Resources launched a Level 4 emergency response to flooding in the coastal provinces of Guangdong, Guangxi and Hainan on Saturday. Guangdong activated a Level 4 emergency response for strong wind on Friday. Shenzhen issued its first red alert for rainstorms this year as the city began to experience heavy thunderstorms and strong winds. The Guangdong Maritime Safety Administration on Friday activated a Level 4 emergency response to tropical cyclone, which was upgraded to Level 2 on Saturday morning. A total of 24 shipping routes and 89 passenger ferries in the province's coastal waters were suspended. After days of torrential rains in South Korea's central and southern regions, the hard work of post-flood cleanup has started. Vendors are salvaging what they can. For many, reopening is not about making a profit, it is about surviving and reviving their livelihoods. At a national level, President Lee Jae-myung convened an emergency task force urging an aggressive response, while local governments, volunteers and residents themselves have also stepped in to speed up recovery on the ground. According to the South Korean Interior Ministry on Saturday, days of torrential rains in South Korea left 5 people dead, 5 missing and more than 7,000 evacuated in floods and landslides. Meanwhile, according to Yonhap news agency, additional casualties were reported in Sangcheong County, South Gyeongsang province, where 1 person was found dead and 3 others went missing after landslides swamped houses.
Guna mentol jimat tenaga untuk lebih jimat.
Coming up, China to ship 31 pure electric mining trucks to Africa. Anna Claudia Rosbach, Executive Director of UN Human Settlements Program, UN Habitat, sounded the alarm over the growing global housing crisis, highlighting that more than 300 million people are currently homeless worldwide. From the 29th to the 30th of May, the resumed second session of the United Nations Habitat Assembly convened in Nairobi, the Kenyan capital. During the event, Rosbach revealed staggering statistics. While over 2.8 billion people worldwide currently live in inadequate housing, more than 1.1 billion reside in slums or informal settlements, and over 300 million people have no home at all. Rosbach emphasized that in many parts of the world, especially in Africa, 62% of urban housing is informal, while in the Asia-Pacific region, over 500 million people lack access to basic water services, and sanitation needs remain unmet for over 1 billion. Japan's top negotiator told reporters on Saturday that he will visit the United States next week to continue trade talks. Economic Revitalization Minister Roisei Akazawa made the remarks after attending the U.S. National Day event at the World Expo 2025 in Osaka together with the visiting U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent.
諸般の事情が許せば、米国の関税措置に関する日米協議を実施するべく、来週早々にも米国ワシントン DC を訪問する予定です。引き続き8月1日も念頭にですね、我が国の国益を守りつつ、日米双方が合意できる着地点、これをですね、探す努力を精力的に続けていきたいというふうに考えております。
Bessent's visit comes as a delicate moment for Japan as its fragile minority government is poised for another setback in an upper house vote on Sunday, an outcome that could complicate the tariff talks with the United States. Tokyo is hoping to meet a 1st August deadline to reach a deal to avert President Donald Trump's tariff of 25% on goods imports from Japan as part of the global trade shakeup he has unleashed since taking office in January. The Trump administration warns that it is taking a series of actions against Mexico over the Mexican government's decisions to rescind some flight slots for U.S. carriers and force U.S. cargo carriers to relocate operations in Mexico City. U.S. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy said the department could disapprove flight requests from Mexico if its government fails to address U.S. concerns over decisions made in 2022 and 2023. The department is also proposing to withdraw antitrust immunity from the Delta Airlines joint venture with Aeromexico to address competitive issues in the market. Delta said if the U.S. Department of Transportation withdraws approval, it would cause significant harm to consumers traveling between the U.S. and Mexico, as well as U.S. jobs, communities, and trans-border competition. The Transportation Department said Mexico has not been in compliance with a bilateral agreement since 2022, when it abruptly rescinded slots and then forced U.S. all-cargo carriers to relocate operations in 2023. Duffy said Mexico was expected to complete construction to alleviate congestion at Mexico City's Benito Juarez International Airport, but that has yet to materialize 3 years later. The department also said it could take action against European countries over limitations at airports. China will ship a fleet of 31 pure electric mining trucks to Africa for use in a copper mining project, marking the global rollout of its green mining solutions. The mining trucks, provided by Breton Technology for an African branch of China's 15th Metallurgical Construction Group, arrived at Taichung port in East China's Jiangsu province on Saturday. According to Li Wenjie, chairman of the construction trade company in Africa of China, 15th Metallurgical Construction Group, it also marks the first large-scale deployment of electric mining trucks at one go to a mining project in Africa. They are set to be loaded onto a vessel for shipment to Durban, South Africa on Sunday evening. The trucks will be deployed at one open-pit copper mine in Zambia. In this project, Breton Technology is responsible for providing a zero-carbon mining robot system which incorporates electric vehicles, autonomous driving and clean energy technologies. The mining trucks are expected to reach Durban after a voyage of 20 to 25 days. Up next, Wai Ching smashes stair climb world record. World number one Gozifei Nurizuddin Ramsani are just one win away from becoming the first Malaysian men's doubles pair to win the Japan Open twice after reaching the final yesterday. Defending champion Zifei Izzuddin powered past Taiwan's world number 24 Liu Kwang Heng Yan Pohan 21-19, 21-11 in the semi-finals at the Tokyo Metropolitan Gymnasium. Victory in the final later today would alleviate them above an elite group of Malaysian pairs, namely Razif Jalani Sidek, Cha Sun Kit, Yap Kim Hock and Chan Chong Min Chu Chun Ng, who have each won the Japan Open once. Standing in their way are South Korea's world number 3 Kim Won Ho Seo Seong Jae, who denied an all-Malaysian final by beating world number 30 Ong Siu Sin Theo Yi in the other semi-final. Head-to-head, Zifei Izzuddin and Seo Kim have met twice before, with both sides claiming one victory each. It is said to be a tasty final, especially with the fact that Seo Kim are set to snatch the world ranking top spot from the Malaysians regardless of Sunday's result. Malaysia's So Wai Ching smashed a Guinness World Record in a grueling 1-hour stair climb machine challenge in Petaling Jaya yesterday. The famed tower runner set a new record world mark of 1.78 km for the fastest simulated distance climb on a stair machine in 1 hour. It surpassed the previous record of 1.74 km set by Britain's David Mahoney in May. Amid a display of great endurance and mental strength, Wai Ching completed the feat without holding the machine's handrails.
My goal is not to hold the rail. That's my principle. Although many people ask me to use the rail because they said, it's okay, the past guy using the rail, maybe you should if you cannot hang on to the pace. But then I told myself today, no matter how tough it is, I need to go on.
Wai Ching was also awarded with 4 Malaysia Book of Records awards for his achievements. Wai Ching's other challenges for the year are the Kuantan 188 Tower Turn at Menara Kuantan next Saturday and the Merdeka 118 Sky Race, the Asia Oceania Championship in August. Thymen Arensman of the Netherlands won the 14th stage of the Tour de France after a superb solo ride in the 183-kilometre mountain track between Pau and Subabanglares on Friday. Slovenian Tadej Pogačar retained the overall leader's yellow jersey as he took second place by beating chief rival Jonas Vingegaard in a two-man sprint finish 1 minute 12 seconds behind Ineos Grenadiers rider Arensman. Defending champion Pogačar extended his lead over Dane Vingegaard in the general classification by 6 seconds at the end of the Pyrenean stage. The day belonged to Arnsman, however, as the Dutchman went solo from the day's breakaway in the penultimate climb to the Col de Prijshout before his team car hit the knockdown a spectator amid the usual roadside chaos on the tour. Arnsman never looked back and held firm on his way up to Subabanglares as Vingegaard attacked several times in an attempt to drop Pogačar. But the world champion did not flinch and easily beat his rival in the final meters to further cement his domination. Ducati's Marc Marquez took a record-extending 11th sprint win of the MotoGP season at the Czech Grand Prix on Saturday, but the Spaniard's celebrations were briefly put on hold during an investigation for tyre pressure infringements. Marquez and factory Ducati teammate Francesco Bagnaia were both forced to slow down during the race and surrender first and second place due to low tyre pressure or risk incurring an 8-second penalty. 6 times champion Marquez relinquished his lead but was able to overtake KTM's Pedro Acosta with 2 laps remaining and crossed the finish line first. MotoGP confirmed that no further action would be taken against Marquez. He leads the Riders' Championship table with 356 points, with his second-place younger brother Alex, who finished 17th after a disastrous start, 95 points behind on 261. KTM Tech's 3's Inia Bastiani, who missed the previous round with appendicitis ended in third at the BRNO circuit in the Czech Republic. Pole sitter Bagnaia finished 7th after he was overtaken by Trackhouse Aprilia rider Raul Fernandez in the final lap. Reigning MotoGP champion Jorge Martin ended 11th on his return to competition after suffering a collapsed lung and bruised ribs in a crash in Qatar in April. Oliver Solberg, competing in his World Rally Championship WRC return, won 3 of the 4 Saturday morning stages to widen his lead at Rally Estonia, extending his advantage to 22.8 seconds over Hyundai's OTT Tanak. The 23-year-old Swedish driver had started the day with a 12.4 second lead following a strong performance on Friday. Solberg narrowly missed a clean sweep of the morning stages, with Tanak denying him by just 0.5 seconds in stage 12. He continues to lead the event, showcasing impressive form in his return to top-flight WRC competition. Meanwhile, Tanak and Thierry Neuville engaged in a tight battle for second place, with Tanak ultimately reclaiming the position after a series of lead changes. Tanak, who started the day second, lost time on stage 9 when he stalled after brushing a hay bale and stalling at a chicane. Tanak initially regained second in stage 10 by 0.7 seconds, but Neuville edged ahead in stage 11 by 0.3 seconds. Scottish Scheffler is 1 round away from his 4th major championship after opening up a 4-stroke lead at the Open Championship on Saturday in Portrush, Northern Ireland. Scheffler posted a woman-man-like 4 under par 67 at Royal Portbush to get the 14 under 199, with China's Li Huaotong his closest pursuer at 10 under. On a day where the majority of the field shot under par and 6 of the top 8 players made at least 1 eagle, Scheffler kept his round bogey-free to remain in the driver's seat. Matt Fitzpatrick played in the final pairing with Scheffler and hung with him for much of the front 9 before settling for an even par 71. He's alone in third at 9 under, and he and Tyrrell Hatton hold outside chances at being the first Englishman to win the Open since 1992. The fans in Northern Ireland would rather see their native son, Rory McIlroy, charge from 6 back to capture an emotional major triumph. McIlroy's eventful day featured a bizarre shot that unearthed another golf ball buried in the rough as he buried a 56-foot eagle putt 1 hole later on his way to a 66.
Petronas Malaysia Cup Prix 2025 pusingan keempat. Deruman jentera moped pelbagai kategori kali ini menggegar Stadium Mini Teluk Intan, Perak, membawakan anda aksi tanpa henti dari setiap pelumba, menakluk lita dengan kelajuan dan keberanian. Ahad 20 Julai 2 petang di TV2 dan di saluran sukan RTM. Saksikan juga secara penstreaman langsung di RTM Click.
More to come. Indie game studios battle for piece of switch to success. No radio, no problem. The Emirate of Fujairah has installed rumble strips along a 750-meter stretch of highway that play the Ode to Joy melody from Ludwig van Beethoven's 9th Symphony as cars roll over part of a project to integrate music into daily life. Similar so-called music roads have already been installed in places like the United States, Japan, and Hungary. However, this is the first permanent road in the Arab world, according to Ali Obed Al-Hefati, director of the Fine Arts Academy in Fujairah, a lesser-known emirate roughly 120 kilometers from the global tourism hub of Dubai. The technology works by carving strategically spaced grooves into the asphalt on Fujairah's Sheikh Khalifa Street. Then, as tyres hit the ridges at roughly 100 kilometers per hour, the resulting vibrations produce a melody audible inside the vehicle. Al-Hafati said Beethoven's Ode to Joy, a tune known to almost every ear on earth, was a natural choice. Players lined up inside Nintendo's booth at a Japanese game fair to try upcoming Switch 2 titles, but for once the company's chirpy red-capped mascot Mario is nowhere to be seen. The 3 games on display are all made by smaller-scale independent developers seeking to impress users of the device that became the world's fastest-selling console after its launch last month. But with Nintendo game sales long dominated by in-house franchises from Super Mario to Donkey Kong to Animal Crossing, it can be hard for outsiders to break through. For third-party game creators, the success of Switch 2 didn't necessarily translate into strong sales. Many Switch 2 owners brought the gadget to play Nintendo exclusives such as Mario Kart World, and the high price of the console and its games mean consumers have been less keen to splash out on a range of titles. Nintendo once had an almost legendary reputation of being hard to negotiate with for outside game makers. But that changed with the Switch 1 opening the way for more third-party games, including indie titles. Antarctica's oldest ice has arrived in Cambridge, the United Kingdom, for detailed analysis, which scientists hope will reveal more about the Earth's climate and atmospheric records stretching back more than 1.5 million years. The ice-core cylindrical tubes of ancient ice was retrieved from depths of up to 2,800 meters at the Little Dome Sea Field Camp in East Antarctica through international collaboration led by the British Antarctic Survey (BAS). Over the next few years, these samples will be meticulously analyzed at the BAS laboratory and other European research facilities to gain understanding of the Earth's climate evolution and greenhouse gas concentrations. For over 60 years, the BAS has been working to unlock secrets above and below the ice of the world's most remote continent. Working with a team of experts from 10 European countries, they have successfully extracted the world's oldest ice cores between 1.2 and 1.5 million years old. Drilling a hole reaching an incredible 2,800 meters into the ice sheet, each 4.5-meter section of ice took around 2.5 hours to recover. The samples were split into smaller pieces, each carefully recorded before being shipped to institutions around Europe for analysis.
Bersihkan penapis penghawa dingin dan tetapkan 24 darjah Celsius untuk lebih jimat.
That concludes today's edition of World Today. In our top story, at least 34 killed as tourist boat capsizes in Vietnam. Till then, I'm Olivia Nicholas, Malaysia Madani, Rakyat Disantuni. Thank you for watching. Have a fantastic day.